PanElla 4 session, we have Generations team starting young. We have with us today Mirrah Bashir, Dr. Talaiha Chughtai, and Lalah Rukh. So, Assalamu alaikum to all of you. Let me start with Dr. Talaiha. She is a practicing pediatrician and has done her residency in pediatrics from Ziauddin University and Hospital. Her main area of focus is community and primary care in pediatrics, and she is also the partnerships lead at 5 Health. Mirrah is currently pursuing MSc at Imperial College London in applied biosciences and biotechnology. She also runs a science blog on Instagram by the name of MirrBiotics, where she represents women in science while making science easy and interesting for non-scientists. Lalah Rukh, we have Faiqa as well with us today. Okay, so Faiqa is here too. Let me just add her too. Yes, Faiqa, hi. We have Lalah Rukh, who is the founder and director of Science Fuse, which works to enhance scientific literacy by curating informal science, educational resources, and engagements for children, teachers, schools, and communities from diverse socio-economic backgrounds in Pakistan. We have Faiqa Ghauri, who is the founder of Crack That Code, an online institute that teaches children computer programming. Faiqa has done her BSc in computer science from LUMS and is also a certified therapist. Crack That Code is also our partner and sponsor for this our first live online conference. So, Assalamu alaikum to all of you. And let's jump right into the questions because there is so much that I want to talk to all of you about. So, first of all, the next generation, it will have very different problems. Our children, like we were talking in the previous panel as well, very different problems, very different challenges that they will have to face. And they will have very different opportunities as well, as Ruqayya was just talking about. So we need to, as educationists, as scientists, as people in STEAM, we need to think of how to make them think differently, how to change the way of their thinking, programming them differently. And I would like each of you to tell us, based on given from your experience and the kind of work that you do, how you are helping students or your students or children do that. So Faiqa, if we could start with you, with your work in teaching children how to code, what response do you get from students and parents alike?
Hi, everybody. So while I teach, I focus on making them think differently. So when I start my sessions, I'm not telling them exactly what to do. I give them the basics and then allow them to trust themselves, to think for themselves, to solve the problems that they need to solve. I only spend like maybe 4 sessions giving them the basics of coding. The rest is giving them problems to solve themselves. So that's what I'm trying to change and revolutionize about teaching to code. It's not just learning the syntax. It's about actually learning to apply it and then trusting themselves, having faith that they can do it, and then being resilient about it and not giving up. So that's what I focus on, not just the technical skills, but also the emotional skills that they need to be able to actually be a coder that changes things in the future.
And Lalah Rukh, when you talk about Science Fuse, you are curating material for not just for students but for teachers and communities as well. So adding to what Faiqa said, what if you could add on to it?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. I absolutely agree with Faiqa, and I just like to build upon that. It's not just about teaching them science or teaching them the skills. It's about changing how they perceive science and how they perceive scientists, and also about how, what do they think about themselves. अक्सर हम जब क्लासरूम्स में जाते हैं और हम बच्चों से पूछते हैं कि आप साइंसदान हैं, and they often say कि नहीं, हम नहीं हैं, because there is a perception of a scientist कि usually the first person that comes to your mind is an old person, a white person, someone like Einstein, उड़े हुए बाल हैं और नहाते नहीं है, गंदे से हैं. That's how usually children describe scientists when we go to schools, and they never think of themselves as scientists. तो हम कहते हैं कि जी साइंसदान करता क्या है, सवालों के जवाब ही तो ढूंढते हैं, करता या करती, a big problem is also that they cannot imagine girls or women as scientists. So as long as you're curious, as long as you're finding out answers to questions, then you're a scientist. And that's what we want children to understand and believe in. So, as Faiqa was saying, it's not just about teaching them all the science in the world, all the skills in the lessons that we conduct. It's also about, for me, a successful lesson is when the child goes home after the lesson, they want to explore more. They want to discover more. They're curious. That's, a good job done as a teacher. And that's what we're trying to do with communities and teachers across Pakistan, government school ke teachers, private school ke teachers, low-income private school ke teachers. All the teachers have worked very hard with us during the pandemic, and we're hoping we'll continue, doing this.
Absolutely, and adding to what you said, जो एक साइंसदान का image होता है, Talaiha, if you could also shed some light on it, कि ये तो a general students का image है, but even for women and girls, when we talk about science and science subjects, दो या तीन ही options mostly girls consider. The common perception is, medicine, MBBS, or, kuch nahi to, if not that, then pharmacy. And not to say that, those are not just as awesome, but there are so many other careers that are open to students in the same STEAM field when I talk about women and girls. So Talaiha, if you could shed some light on that, based on your experience as a pediatrician. And
sure thing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here on today, first of all. And the example I would like to give you right now is my own. And I'll explore why that is so. So when I started and I did my A-levels in pre-med, and I then kind of carved the way. I remember I went to my father and I had like genetic engineering. I had applied abroad for a bachelor's in genetic engineering. I was very excited. And I walked to him and I said, hey, I got an offer. And he looked at me and he's like, okay, tum genetic matlab pen ke kya karogi? So levels. And I kind of looked at him and I was like, it's going to be so cool. I will manipulate genes for a living, because that at that time. And unfortunately, that didn't work. But what happened from that point is that even when I'd applied for a very traditional role, yeah,
Talaiha, we cannot hear you. If you turn your video off and talk, maybe we'd be able to hear you.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm saying is also, I'm so sorry about that. So basically what I did was that when I was studying science, I didn't study it because it was a subject. I studied it because I loved that critical thinking approach, the problem solving approach. Being able to replicate a problem and reproduce the solution. That is what I picked up. And मैंने अपना career actually as a doctor बहुत evolve किया है. I am a pediatrician, yes. I do practice, yes. But I also work in public health. I am also an educator counselor for lactation now. And almost everything that I'm trying to do on a daily basis is to make sure कि मैं शायद programs भी develop करूँ, business development भी करूँ, research के अंदर भी जाऊँ. So if I'm just remove myself for 1 second in this conversation, हमारा जो एक
I think that just dropped. Okay, so Talaiha will come back to you. Mirrah, I know that you have also done a blog post about this. So Mirrah, can you hear me? Because your screen is paused. Yes, okay. So I know that you've done a blog post about this on your blog as well. There are different areas of science for women and girls to explore. So if you could shed some light on what you, based on your experience as a student, as well as the response that you've gotten from your audience about this.
First of all, thank you for having me, of course. I'm really grateful to be here. Secondly, there's two things that I wanted to point out in the last two questions that you asked. One thing
I think Mirrah has also. Mirrah, if you could turn your video off, maybe that would help. I don't know if Mirrah is talking. Cannot hear either of you. Coming back to, I'll come back to you, Mirrah, as well, and then we'll come back to. So coming back to Faiqa and Lalah, Rukh, both of you. So when we talk about, when we were in school, we were, just picking subjects like biology, physics, chemistry. This is something that we were talking about in previous panel as well. So when we talk about Generation STEAM and starting them young, because you guys are directly working with the children, what response do you get from parents? Do you have to convince them that no, these are important things that you have to teach? Do you have to convince the students, or is there a lack of interest from the student side? And why is it so important to start young? That is my question. And I think, Faiqa, if you could go first.
Honestly, I think in STEAM, I think tech is probably the one getting the least importance from parents. And for me, it's actually struggling to make them understand, because it's, for me, and I'm actually noticing all the women talking today, we all have a certain drive, a passion, and a mindset. It doesn't matter what field it is, if it's as a doctor or science or me, they sound just like me, because we all have that mindset and way of thinking and that curiosity and that passion. And they're all saying exactly what I feel. So it doesn't matter what field, but in tech, parents don't understand that it's important. That it's not just about learning to code. It's about so much more of a way of thinking. And I guess that applies to all other fields, because seeing all these women, they're all learning the same skill that I've learned, which is to think for yourself and to think out of the box and look for the solutions and be curious about it. And I think that's what parents need to understand, because it's not just about the skill you're learning so much more. And it's so exciting to see that everybody's like that in this panel and the panel before me. I'm actually proud of everybody, and I want everybody to work on that, bring that into the sessions, into teaching, make them passionate, make them excited about it, make them curious about it, like Lalah, Rukh said, because only then will they be interested in learning. It's not just the technical skills, not just about the professional skill. ठीक है, job मिल जाएगी. They will find a way, but you have to be excited about it, and it's lovely.
And it's our job as educators to build that curiosity in them, right? To spark it, whatever it is that they're interested in, just pick that up and take it from there. So Lalah, Rukh, your take on that?
I think I'd like, agar possible, maybe Dr. Talaiha would like to continue, because I think she's back, and Mirrah is still like to add. I've already spoken.
Okay, so Dr. Talaiha, if you could take the lead. Can't hear you. Okay, so Talaiha, will come back to you. Mirrah, if you can, yes, we can see you, Mirrah. Yeah.
Hi, so sorry about that.
No problem, yes.
Just to continue with what I was saying, so just the aspect of science is really scary. I think that needs to be broken down for sure. It is something that anyone and everyone can do. There's no natural aptitude for science. If you're interested, you like it, it can be fun, it can be taught. The second point, when we talked about, MBBS and limited, other limited options in career, it's because a lot of it has to do with, we teach it as a hierarchy that, MBBS in medicine is on the top, and then you have other like scientific stuff, and then you have things that are beneath that. And it's from, at least from my experience, that's just not how it is. We all work, I would say we're more a team. You know, everybody works together. Researchers will work with doctors, doctors work with researchers. You will work with other multinational companies that have that global impact and will, you know, pump your research out. Everybody is working together. And if we could maybe get rid of that hierarchy where we think, oh, you know, doctors are the best and doctors are the most learned. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a doctor, of course, but there's equally nothing wrong with being a scientist. Especially in the field of biology, we're not failed doctors. Not everybody wants to be a doctor or an engineer as well. Some people genuinely just want to do research. And I'm saying this more because I got this asked a lot, because I would say, you know, I have an interest in biology, but I don't want to do medicine. And I mean, I was lucky enough, I was privileged enough to have a lot of exposure and I saw a lot of things, but it's something that I wish was taught to me when I was younger. And, you know, making my decision about a career choice was that, you know, it's not just medicine, there's several other options that you can take. You will be working closely with doctors. You know, you could either be working in a lab, you could be working in a company. It's more, but the first step needs to be just awareness. You know, what is out there? What can we do? And just teach our kids that and just, you know, spark their interest, and then you go from there.
So each of you have been breaking down scientific concepts for children in different ways. Mirrah, you were doing it for the general audience. Faiqa, you're doing it through tech and coding in particular. You know, Lalah, Rukh, you've been doing it through science views. So when I would like to ask about each of your experience, each of your individual experience and the response that you get from the students, and also something, you know, a little more about the nature of each of your work. And I hope if Talaiha can also join, she is back. Let's put Talaiha back on the thing. Talaiha, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, so before I move on to my last question, I would really want you to talk about career options for women and your work at 5 Health. Oh my goodness.
Coming back, I think सबसे एक माया बहुत बात की इसको वो नहीं करना है hierarchy. Engineering.
Yes, now we can. Can you repeat? I think we dropped Talaiha. Okay. Talaiha, you're back. So can you continue? Okay.
Yes, I think you can
We
hear.
can.
Okay, so now I'm so sorry about that, but so the thing is कि एक चीज नहीं है. अब हमारे पास, I actually spoke to somebody today and had a discussion कि, you know, they're also biological photographers.
Right.
People do pictures of slides when, you know, they have that field. So it's not about आपको कौन सी field में जाना है. It's about what problem you solve. Science is basically all human-centered design. We're working together to solve problems. तो आप marine biologist भी बन सकते हैं, आप genetic engineer बन सकती हैं, आप technology में भी जा सकती हैं, coding कर सकती हैं, सब चीजें. And I think now because this pandemic की वजह से we have everything available online. It is beautiful. All of this wasn't available 10 years ago. And the reason for that is because we taught that in school. बचपन से science का मतलब है आप experiment कर रहे हैं या आप डॉक्टर बन रहे हैं, या अगर आप लड़के हैं तो आप इंजीनियरिंग करेंगे. That's it. But from the beginning, if you offer them
Okay, we lost you again, Talaiha. But there's so much to explore. I mean, I wouldn't even have thought of a biological photographer. That's what she said. Like, that's pretty cool, and that's worth thinking about even, right? So coming back to the question that I had for all of you, if you could tell why initially, like why you initiated the idea of Mirrah you for MirrBiotics, Lalah Rukh you for Science Fuse, and Faiqa you for Crack That Code. Why is it so important to you in particular? And when you started off, what was it that what was the sort of reaction that you had to face from parents, from students, for Mirrah you, from the general audience? So Lalah Rukh, I think we'll start with you first.
Yeah, so I think कि अभी जो हम बात कर रहे हैं कि there's a lot that children can do rather than just going into medicine या engineering के हमारे मुल्क में बच्चे all fields को pursue क्यों नहीं करते? I think medicine का तो एक बहुत special case है. I will not talk about medicine अभी फिलहाल. I will just talk about कि it's a very unique thing जो सिर्फ शायद पाकिस्तान में होती है कि in medicine you have a very high percentage of women who go into medicine in Pakistan and still do not end up practicing. So there are a number of factors why that happens, and it's very strange. In any other country, you would actually celebrate that. Oh, we have such a high percentage of medical students who are females. But for us, it's a very a very strange case के वो हमारे लिए कुछ benefit नहीं है किसी के लिए भी. So why do children not pursue science? इसके ऊपर काफी extensive research हो रही है और ममालिक में. So when I was working at the Science Museum in London, there was research that I came across जिसका नाम है जिसको कहते हैं Science Capital. तो Science Capital आप सोचिए एक बैग की तरह है और उस बैग के अंदर आप साइंस के बारे में क्या सोचते हैं, आप साइंस के साथ कैसे इंगेज करते हैं क्लासरूम और स्कूल के बाहर भी और स्कूल के अंदर भी, आप किसको जानते हैं कि आप किसी साइंसदान को जानते हैं, आपकी फैमिली में कोई साइंसदान है, आप घर पे साइंस के बारे में बात करते हैं कि नहीं, ये सारी चीजें जाती हैं. और जैसे जैसे ये सारी चीजें बढ़ती जाती हैं आपका साइंस कैपिटल बढ़ता जाता है. सो दे आर डूइंग दिस रिसर्च टू फाइंड आउट कि एक छोटा बच्चा जब तक वो ए लेवल्स तक या हाई स्कूल तक या मैट्रिक एसएससी तक पहुंचते हैं, व्हाई डू दे नॉट चूज साइंस? व्हाट इज इट दैट टेक अ लॉट ऑफ आवर पॉपुलेशन अवे फ्रॉम साइंस? और क्यों एक खास बैकग्राउंड के बच्चे ही साइंस में जाते हैं? जैसे कि यूके में मोस्ट ऑफ दोज किड्स हु डू एंड अप स्टडीइंग साइंस वो ज्यादा प्रिविलेज्ड बैकग्राउंड से होते हैं और वो वाइट होते हैं. अब पाकिस्तान में आप देखें कि millions of children go to government schools or low income private schools, जहाँ पे आप नहीं सोच सकते कि वो बच्चे मरीन बायोलॉजिस्ट या मे बी बहुत अमेजिंग कोडर्स बनेंगे, क्योंकि आपकी साइंस की पहले तो क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन इज एब्सोल्युटली डिसमल and nobody is interested in investing in improving the quality of science education. दूसरी बात ये कि इनफॉर्मली हमारे बच्चे साइंस के साथ इंगेज ही नहीं करते. जो मेरा काम कर रही हैं, जो फाइका कर रही हैं, दिस इज इनफॉर्मली इंगेजिंग विद साइंस, गोइंग टू अ वर्कशॉप जो फाइका करवा रही हैं या engaging with Mirrah's page is how you engage with science informally. And this everyone knows around the world. रिसर्च सालों की ये साबित कर चुकी है कि साइंस के साथ इनफॉर्मली इंगेज करना बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है साइंटिफिक लिटरेसी बिल्ड करने के लिए, क्यूरियोसिटी बिल्ड करने के लिए. तो आप अपने बच्चों को रॉब कर रहे हैं. मिलियंस ऑफ चिल्ड्रन यू आर रॉबिंग देम बिकॉज यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग देम विद सब स्टैंडर्ड एजुकेशन. By the time they finish 12 years of education, they do not have the skills or what they should have to lead a life जहाँ पे वो अपने लिए कुछ कर सकें, दुनिया के लिए कुछ कर सकें. So we need to invest in the quality of teachers, in changing the curriculum, in providing great quality learning resources, and in providing opportunities to those who come from really marginalized and vulnerable communities कि वो साइंस के साथ इनफॉर्मली भी इंगेज करें और फॉर्मल एजुकेशन को भी हम बेहतर कर सकें. फिर जाके हम शायद सोच सकते हैं कि हमारे बच्चे भी मरीन बायोलॉजिस्ट बने एंड फिर आगे और बैरियर्स आते हैं स्कूल के बाद. ऑफ कोर्स इंडस्ट्री कितनी, रिसर्च की अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं कि नहीं, यूनिवर्सिटीज कितनी इक्विप्ड हैं, आपकी इंडस्ट्रीज वो इस मुल्क में हैं भी कि नहीं, so there are a number of factors that actually influence कि एक बच्चा साइंस को चूज करता है कि नहीं, एक बच्चा और बच्ची, एंड देन आगे फिर उनका साइंस का करियर कैसे डेवलप होता है.
नहीं, and you very rightly pointed out कि आपको you need to engage informally as well with science. Faiqa, your take on this?
I think Lalah covered a lot of it. A lot of it is how you actually teach the source. subject that you're teaching. Secondly, I think she's right. We don't have the opportunities available for kids to expand. And I don't think parents understand that there's a lot, I think it's very conservative about the curriculum so far. So we have to change the way we think so we can change the way where children can think and expand forward. But also we are trying to work it. All the people here are trying to change the way it is taught, and hopefully we can bring it into the schools. I'm actually noticing in Karachi, schools are teaching coding now. I'm glad at an early age, because when I was learning to code, I didn't learn to code till I got to college. But now kids are learning young, and that's great. Because then they're going to learn.
How young is young? Like when we talk about starting them young, how, like, this is a question for Talaiha, you as well, because since you do work with children, how young is young? Like what is, like, Faiqa, I don't know what is the youngest age that you teach coding to?
I take 7, but honestly, if I was doing live sessions again, I could take a 5-year-old. Because you can do Scratch Junior as well, with an iPad, which you don't even need to read. 4-year-old as well. And I'm sure with sciences, I do science experiments with my children. Even though I don't know much about science, but I do it with my 4-year-old. I do it. So you can start a kid at 3. But we don't give that opportunities to our children.
No, and I absolutely love what Lalah said about, engaging them. Because they can science experiment, अगर उन्होंने कभी करी ही नहीं होगी, तो how will you spark that curiosity in them, right? उनको पता ही नहीं होगा what they're missing out on. Mirrah, if you would like to add, I really want to also understand why and how you started this blog.
Yeah, I mean, to just touch up on what Faiqa and Rukh said, first of all, I think that 14, which is, I think 13, 14, which is the age in Pakistan that we choose to go into either commerce or science, is ridiculously young. I do not know at the age of 14 what I want to do, what I like enough to make a career out of. So I think that needs to go. Not that we shouldn't do the commerce or business accounting, so I think that we should do it all. I think that we need to learn how to incorporate all these subjects, again, into our real life, how it's going to be applied, why they're all each important, and how they overlap. So I think that was the biggest thing that I noticed, was that, suddenly at age 13, there's like a divide between me and my friends, because, oh, you're a science student, you're a commerce student. And it was ridiculous, because if you let go of science at age 13, you can never do it again. You'll have to start from scratch. And I think, like Lalah said, you are robbing your kids of that opportunity at too young of an age. So I think that's number one thing that needs to change. And because of this is actually why I think I started my blog, because I noticed within my group of friends or circle, like I said, science is just seen as this daunting, intimidating thing. And, I want to talk to people about it, and I want to learn from other people about it. And it's only actually like, Faiqa's talking about coding. I just did some coding for the first time in my life at my master's. And there's a whole field of like bioinformatics and computational biology that I just didn't even realize how it fit into my life and everybody's life on a daily basis. And, I was learning all these things, and I realized, okay, number one, I need to meet a lot more people. So it was a way of getting myself out there and talking to them. And number two was just, even people who are not scientists, like, we can talk about this stuff because it is important to you guys as well. All the research that chemists, physicists, biologists, everyone do, it all in the end affects us. So we might as well understand it. And I think like Science Fuse is doing, that's where science communication is just so important, and is now becoming, especially with COVID, becoming increasingly important, because people now, are interested, want to know what's going into my body, what's happening to my body, how do these drugs work, and how does the world work in general. And either we need to incorporate it from a younger age and keep it going until, we really choose, okay, this is something I really don't want to do. And then there need to be outlets for people who didn't choose it as a career, but are still interested and want to know about it. And again, we need to, all the research papers, the difficulty, all that, scientific jargon can be there for the scientists, but there needs to be that outlet like Science Fuse is, to be like, this is what the scientists are doing, and you guys can understand it too. It's not just for the scientists. So I think that was one thing that really motivated me to do my blog, was like, I talk about really, like, I talked about flatulence, and I talked about eyelash mites from your mascara, and like, this is also stuff that I'm slowly learning that people want to know, and they want to know the science behind, like, is it really bad for me to have these eyelash mites? And to be honest, it's not, unless it's excessive. But like, all these small things that you can take down all these research papers, make it easy, and just tell the general public. It's fun for me, but it's something that I feel like needed to be done to, like, yes, inspire more.
Definitely. Definitely. Even like, the simplest of things when you explain them, and so beautifully illustrated, it does make a difference. Talaiha, over to you. If you could tell us about your work at Five Health and how the school, were they even receptive of you coming into schools and, teaching them health sciences, the students? Talaiha. Talaiha, can you hear us? Can you try with your video on? Maybe that way it would work.
Hope you guys can hear me. I can hear you. Perfect. Okay, so the work that we do at Five Health is because, all of the things that we're discussing, कि हम बच्चों को साइंस कैसे बेहतर पढ़ा सकते हैं, ऑप्शंस क्या हैं उनकी डेवलपमेंट के लिए, उनको कैसे नई अपॉर्चुनिटीज देनी है, all of this is excellent. But what we tend to forget is कि हमने बच्चे को हेल्दी कैसे रखना है, so they can come to school. Because हम एक important means अगर वो स्कूल के अंदर बीमार हो जाए, एक्सीडेंट हो जाए, there is nobody to help the then nobody is in schools to keep growing okay.
Talaiha, we can't hear you. Can any of you hear her? Maybe it's my internet that's bad. No? Oh, okay. And now her video is frozen too. It's unfortunate how, even despite us trying our best, internet is just not, it gives up. So this brings us to the end of our session. We have gone over time as well. I will try one more time with Talaiha because I really want her to tell us about Five Health. Talaiha, if we can try once more with you. Can you say something? Okay, so thank you to all of you for taking out the time and being part of the session today. Any closing comments from you guys?
I just want to say that I love what you guys are doing, and I want us as a community, all of us, to work even harder to give more opportunity to the children and women so we can do even better for the next generations to come. We should all team up and collab and do more work for this. It would be great. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, honestly, just thank you for having us. And I honestly didn't think that I would ever have the chance to come and talk somewhere. And I was really nervous, but I'm so glad I did it. And yeah, just like Faiqa said, keep talking and keep collaborating and keep putting it out there and hope that, maybe we can change the path a little bit for some people and inspire them to continue work in this.
Lalah.
I'd just like to say that thank you for, having me here. मुझे Mirrah के काम के बारे में नहीं पता था, so I found out about Mirrah today. I'm going to go check her blog out. Maybe, reach out even. I know about Faiqa. Recently someone connected me with Crack That Code, और फिर मेरी Crack That Code की team से हमारी बातचीत हुई, and we even, we are planning to work together. So I think it's very important for people working in this space to, keep an eye out for what everyone, what someone else is doing, and appreciate their work, and spread word about the work, and also to see how we can come together and work together. क्योंकि हम different या तो हमारी areas of work होते हैं या different communities के साथ हम काम कर रहे होते हैं, so it always helps to come together and collaborate. So I'm so glad I got to meet both of you and Dr. Talaiha, even though hum unse zyada nahi sun paye, but I have been in touch with 5 Health ki team, so I know that they do remarkable work. So thank you.
Absolutely. And I really wanted to hear from Talaiha. Can you try talking now? Maybe it'll work. Yes, we can slightly, but yeah, go on.
Okay, so when we were trying to achieve this, health education हम बच्चों को हेल्थ फैसिलिटीज का एक्सेस प्रोवाइड करें, एजुकेशन को ब्रेक डाउन करें, एक एक बच्चे को क्लास में बनाएं, पर्सनल हाइजीन होती है, डेंटल टीम क्या होती है, मेंटल हेल्थ के कुछ टॉपिक्स, टिक क्या है, पीयर प्रेशर, बुलिंग, these are just very basics that are हमारा मेन काम स्कूल में ये होता है कि बच्चा सेफ एंड सिक्योर रहे, so they end the school in the first day because it's a great program.
No, now we completely lost you. But from the gist of what Talaiha was saying, it is so important to teach all of this to children, schools in Pakistan, going to them and talking to them about health and even mental health. And no, thank you for all of you for whatever way you're contributing to science, women and girls in science in Pakistan. And like Lalah Rukh said, that, this is just the first step, coming together, collaborating, talking to each other. And like, Faiqa, you said that we need to create that passion, that excitement, that curiosity. And I think that we're getting, inches closer to it. And today, this, the entire, all the PanEllas, all the sessions have just opened, at least my eyes, even more. There's so much more to be done. And alhamdulillah that, there are so many people who are willing to collaborate and work together. So thank you to each of you for making the time today. Thank you for coming up and talking about the work that you're doing and sharing your experience. And inshallah, we will definitely be in touch with you all, and we will be doing more of these in the future. So that's it for today's session, and I'm going to bring in our co-founder Mehek. She has been in the waiting room, and we're going to be ending today's conference. So thank you so much.